Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of More to the Story. Welcome back for all my weekly listeners. And if you're new to the pod, as always, you are in store for a great episode. This is going to be week 2 of the NFL recap, summary, and takeaways of the NFL season, man. Week 1 was great. Week 2, y'all, even better. We had close games, we had comebacks, we had blowouts, we got everything from week 2. This was one of the best week 2 of footballs that I've ever seen in terms of competition, close games, and everything I said earlier. Just an all around great week 2 so far, y'all. But before I get into that, y'all, talk about my weekend a little bit as always. But this weekend, Pop's birthday, man. Shout out to Pops. He will not be with me this episode. I will be solo manning this episode myself. But shout out to Pops, man. Turned 48 this past weekend. Shout out to the old man, Fudgy. You feel me, Pops? Happy B-Day to you, man. Had a good time with him this weekend. Watched some football. Watched Canelo fight Saturday. Even though after the Notre Dame game, y'all, I went to sleep. I probably had a little bet on Notre Dame that would have won me significant money, and it lost on that last kick where they botched the kick. But we move on though. That was a tough loss on Saturday, but yeah, man. Shout out to Pops, his B-Day Sunday. Spent time with the family, man. Spent a lot of time with the fam. Went over there, watched some NFL as always. Ate some ribs, ate some baked beans, macaroni. You know how we get, man, over there in Claremont. But it was a great weekend, y'all. I cannot complain. Everything went at 2 minutes. But yeah, y'all, just an overall good weekend. I have no complaints. Next week, I'm going to a wedding, so I might not be watching football next Sunday, y'all. I will be at a wedding next Sunday. So yeah, man, weekends are always usually busy for me. I'm always usually doing something with family, friends, whatever it is. But yeah, another good weekend in the books. Stay safe. I'm healthy. I'm here and I'm podcasting as always, man. Y'all know how we get. But let's get into this episode though, y'all. We had a good one. Y'all know how we do on this podcast. We start off from Thursday all the way to Sunday. And I am recording on a Monday night, y'all. I'm recording in the middle of the Texans versus Bucks game. And it's in the fourth quarter, 14-13 right now. Texas just made a field goal. But I probably won't be recapping the last 2 games of this week. But it is what it is. I just wanted to get back to my regular schedule like how last season I recorded every Monday and was releasing every Tuesday. I'm trying to get back on that schedule again. I don't want to be releasing on Wednesday where 2 days already have passed from Monday. And y'all probably don't really care about what happened from the NFL weekend. So that's why I'm recording tonight, trying to get this out to y'all by Tuesday, like I said. But let's get into it, y'all. Let's get into this busy week 2 of NFL football, man. Starting off with Packers Commanders. Packers win it 27-18. Packers are now 2-0 on the season. Commanders go to 1-1, y'all. And I hate to admit this, y'all. Y'all know I'm a Bears fan. Packers might be the best team in the league. Packers are definitely the best team in the AFC. You know, this defense is absolutely unreal. The offense is just in a flow state right now. Jordan Love in his game, 19 for 31, 292 yards and 2 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs just keeps scoring. This is his 9th straight game scoring a touchdown dating back to last season. Like, this team just doing what they do. Jaden Reed did go down with a broken collarbone in this one. He already was playing with a bad shoulder. They threw a 39-yard bomb to him in the end zone, and he fell directly on the shoulder, so he will be out for the next 6 to 8 weeks. But yeah, y'all, like I said, man, this Packers offense just looks great. The passing offense is good. The running game is good. Micah Parsons says they got him on defense. QB pressures is up. QB hits is up. Everything is going good for this Packers team. They look like one of the best teams over on football right now. Like I said, I think they may be the best team in the league. But for the Commanders, y'all, very slow start from them this year. I know they beat the Giants last week 21-6, but it's the Giants, no offense. But they did not look good this week in this game. Running game was abysmal. Passing game was okay, even though Jane Daniels finished off 24 for 42, 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. It just wasn't an all-around good game from him. And we just found out on Monday, today, that he is dealing with a knee sprain, and he is now doubtful for week 3. So hopefully they won't be missing Jane Daniels too long because this offense is already off to a pretty slow start. But Austin Eckler, y'all. Austin Eckler is out for the season with a torn Achilles. He got hurt in the second half of this game. But speedy recovery to Austin Eckler. But my biggest takeaway from this game, y'all, is like I said, the Packers might be the best team in the league. That is my biggest takeaway. They just look the most complete. They're healthy. They're flowing, minus the Jaden Reed injury, of course, but they're in a flow state right now, y'all. And I'd hate to see this team. But on to the next game, y'all. Our first game of the Sunday 1 p.m. slate. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals win it 31-27. And the biggest story of this game is Joe Burrow is out, y'all, for the next 3 months with turf toe. If y'all don't know what turf toe is, it's basically ligament damage in the bottom of your big toe or that bone that touches the ground. It's a bad injury. They should rebrand turf toe. Like turf toe is just they just call it broken foot. Like it is literally it's the worst injury to get as a one of the worst foot injuries to get as a sports athlete. Like even grade 1 turf toe is painful. So grade 3 requires surgery. Joe Burrow will be out for a minimum of 3 months. So looking like a mid-December return for Joe Burrow. Even and that's if the Bengals are competitive still. They are 2-0 to start the season, but say by mid-December they're like, let's say 2-7, 2-8 by that point. I don't think Joe Burrow should come back, but hopefully they'll be good. You know, Jake Brown in this game looked pretty competent, y'all. He had the Jameis Winston game. Jake Brown in this game, 21 for 32, 241 yards, 3 total touchdowns, and 3 INTs. You know, he did his big one, 3 touchdowns, 3 INTs. A pretty solid game by Jake Browning, even though the Bengals are still in search for a replacement quarterback for Joe Burrow. I think Jake Browning will be able to do the job for the time being. But yeah, pretty good game by him in this one. Jamar Chase, 14 catches, 165 yards in the TD after having only two catches in like 26 yards last week. He absolutely went crazy. He like quantum, whatever the number is, he went way over what he had last week. So great bounce back game today by Jamar Chase. The Jacksonville Jaguars, y'all. Trevor Lawrence is not the guy. He is very inaccurate. His IQ is so low as a quarterback. He kind of got into there's a little video circulating with him waving off Coach Cohen on the sideline. I think him talking about Trevor Lawrence's accuracy and dating back to the press conference last week where Cohen openly talked about Trevor Lawrence's accuracy. It's just not a good. They're all 1-1. They're not 0-2, but like Trevor Lawrence does not look promising to me, y'all. In this game, 24 for 42, 271 yards. He did have 3 touchdowns and 2 picks, but he could be better, man. He should have had 0 picks in this game. Like, you're playing the Bengals defense. This is the game where you should really get into your bag, do what you do, but not a good game by the Jags in this one. They could have won this game. Brian Thomas Jr., alligator arms in this game, y'all. He had 2 very easy drops. It looks like he's afraid to get hit out there. I don't know if y'all watched that preseason game. I think literally the last preseason game, Trevor Lawrence threw Brian Thomas Jr. an absolute hospital ball. And I think from that point on, Brian Thomas Jr. is just cautious of how he's treating himself and how he's approaching these catches. Just something to monitor for the Jags, man. But biggest takeaway, y'all, do the Bengals continue their winning ways without Joe Burrow, man? I mean, without Joe Burrow, they are, I think, let me pull up the stat. Without Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals are 6-8 and average 19 points per game. With Joe Burrow, they have 40-plus wins and average 25 points per game. So it will be a significant difference without Joe Burrow. Hopefully, they will be able to stay afloat in this one. But on to the next game, y'all. We have the Giants versus the Cowboys in an absolute shootout. In my opinion, was the game of the day. Cowboys win it 40-37 in overtime. Brendan Aubrey, he's the best kicker in the NFL. One of the best kickers we've seen since Justin Tucker, like in terms of just how far he can kick it, how consistent he's making these far kicks, y'all. I mean, what a game, man. Before I even get into the fourth quarter, y'all, let's get some stats. Russell Wilson in this game, 30 for 41, 450 yards in this game, 3 touchdowns, and he had a pick in overtime. That was just an absolute stupid throw by Russ. He should have had 0 picks in this game. But Malik Neighbors, man, a reason why I hyped him up, y'all, and I put him as the 4th best wide receiver going into this season. The reason why I picked him as my first pick in fantasy is because of this, man. 9 receptions for 167 yards, 2 touchdowns for Malik Neighbors in this game. Malik Neighbors broke OBJ's record for reception in his first 23 games with 123 receptions in his first 23 games, man. He is the Giants offense, y'all. Like, he is doing everything in his power to do. He's doing everything in his power to win Giants games. Like, he needs help out there. And he did get help out there today, honestly. Wan'Dale Robinson, 8 catches for 142 yards and a TD in this one. Just an all-out shootout in this game. Dak Prescott on the day, 38 for 52, 2 touchdowns in the pick. George Pickens did have his first touchdown today as a Dallas Cowboy. George Pickens did look pretty good today. Javonte Williams is just running the ball all over the place. He had another touchdown in this one. He looks pretty good in the first 2 weeks as a Cowboy, running behind this dominant offensive line. But in this fourth quarter, y'all, we had 41 points and 5 total touchdowns in this fourth quarter. Just back-to-back lead changes. I mean, the Giants scored to go up by 3 points with 33 seconds left, and then Brandon Aubrey to go into overtime. Just absolutely drills a 65-yard field goal, ice in his veins. What a game in this one, y'all. But my biggest takeaway from this game, Dallas offense is really freaking good. Like last week, they didn't score a lot of touchdowns against the Eagles. Offense still looked good. This week, they scored a lot of touchdowns against a team with a very good defensive line. Not really good DBs, but very good defensive line. They looked absolutely amazing in this game, y'all. Like Dallas Cowboys offense is definitely something to look out for, but also their defense is pretty bad. But on to the next game, y'all. Dallas wins that one, 40-37. Bears versus Lions is the next game we're going to talk about, y'all. This is a game that's pretty touchy to me. As y'all know, my Chicago Bears look absolutely terrible. We look like one of the worst teams in the NFL. I'm not gonna lie to you. We look very bad. Bears are now 0-2. Lions are now 1-1 on the season. Lions win this one 52-21. They literally beat us by more than double. My goodness, man. The Lions scored 7 touchdowns today, y'all. They scored 7 touchdowns today. 49 points off touchdowns alone, and they kicked the field goal. The Bears allowed 52 points today, or on Sunday, which is tied for the most in franchise history. The Bears defense in the last 5 quarters. So this whole game, 4 quarters, and in the fourth quarter of week 1 against the Vikings, the Bears have allowed 694 yards of offense and 73 points in the last 5 quarters. Defense is just absolutely abysmal. Jalen Johnson has just been rolled out today for the remainder of the season with a significant groin injury. The reason why he missed week 1, he re-aggravated the injury, probably tore his groin. It has to be a significant injury to miss the entire season with the groin injury. But no more Jalen Johnson for the year, y'all. Just an absolute abysmal defensive game by the Bears. But offense for the Lions is absolutely clicking, man. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9 catches for 115 yards, 3 touchdowns, even though he has some garbage time stats, but it is what it is. Jared Goff in this one, 23 for 28, 335 yards, and 5 touchdowns for Jared Goff. Jared Goff and Lamar Jackson are the only players since 2022 to have 5 touchdowns and 0 picks, and everybody else has only 1 game. So, yeah, man, Jared Goff, he just seems to score 50 points on any team he's on. I remember those Rams games and those teams that he was on. He was scoring 50 points as well. That memorable Thursday night game versus the Chiefs. I think that was 2019, 2018. But, yeah, man, dominant offensive game by the Lions today. They dominated our Bears. Caleb Williams, this is not your fault today, brother. You had an okay game, but defense didn't even give us a chance to stay in this one. Man, Chicago Bears, we have so much to work on. My biggest takeaway from this game is that the Lions last week against the Packers, it was just the Packers because that offense looked bad last week. The offense looked absolutely in flow. It looked like a Ben Johnson type of offense this week. They looked great this week, y'all. So, yeah, on to the next game. I'm sorry, Bears. I hate talking about y'all. But on to the next game. We have the Rams versus Titans. Rams win this one 33-19, and the Rams look really good, y'all. I think the Rams are the second best team in the AFC behind the Green Bay Packers. I mean, that wide receiver duo they have with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams is cooking, y'all. Puka Nacua, 8 receptions for 91 yards and a rush TD for 45 yards on like the first drive of the game for Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua had another 90-plus receiving yard game. He has the second most receiving yard games for 90-plus in their first 30 games all time. Another 90-plus yard receiving yard game. Just absolutely dominant. Devontae Adams today in this one, 6 catches for 106 yards and a touchdown. Rams defense is absolutely amazing as well. They just get to the quarterback. They make any offensive line look bad with this pressure they have with Jared Verse and the other guys they have on this defensive line, this very young team. Matthew Stafford in this game, 23 for 33, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. The Rams look really good, y'all. And the Titans and Cam Ward off to a slow start, but as we expected, man, this offensive line sucks, and Cam Ward is really good. Minus their losses and what these scores may reflect, Cam Ward is a really good quarterback, y'all. He had a very insane crossbody throw to I think you pronounce it Io Maynor for his first career reception touchdown as well. Threw it across his body for like 30 plus yards, something that a quarterback is never supposed to do. But what a throw by him. And my biggest takeaway from this game, y'all, I'm still riding high on my Rams to the Super Bowl pick. I don't know about the Bengals anymore with Joe Burrow's season in question for my Rams Bengals rematch for the Super Bowl, but I think the Rams will still go to the Super Bowl, y'all. They still like a really good team. Offense is really good. Defense is really good. I'm still high on the Rams, y'all. That's my biggest takeaway. But on to the next game. We have the New England Patriots versus the Dolphins. Patriots are now 1-1 on the season. The Miami Dolphins now moved to 0-2. Patriots win this one 33-27, y'all. And it is not looking good for Mike McDaniels. Coach McDaniels, he might be out, y'all. I mean, his press conferences get worse and worse by the week. He literally said, y'all, in his press conference, they asked him, what do you guys have to do to finally get a win? He said, we just have to stop losing. I mean, just an asshole response by McDaniels. The vibes in Miami are very low. Tua Tagovailoa threw a pass over Tyreek Hill's head, and he literally walked off the field for the next play. He was not hurt. He literally just walked off the field in frustration because threw the ball over his head by 10 feet, and Tyreek Hill was only 5'9". Tua Tagovailoa in this game, he had a solid game by the numbers, y'all, but just another crucial turnover by Tua in the fourth quarter in this one, as the Dolphins could have came back to tie the game. Tua in this one, 26 for 32, 315 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Like I said, just a timely interception in the fourth quarter, and he got sacked on the final play of the game he didn't even get the ball to nobody. He just took a sack, which you just should not do as a quarterback. Just throw it up. Give yourself a fighting chance to score. Yeah, man, Miami, the vibes are absolutely terrible. But for the Patriots, y'all, really good game by y'all. A bounce-back game by y'all. The offense looked way better in this game. Drake May, 19 for 23, 230 yards, and 2 touchdowns in this one. Ramondre Stevenson, bounce-back game as well. 16 touches in this game, 142 scrimmage yards. All-around good game. In this fourth quarter, there was a kick return and a punt return on back-to-back plays by the Dolphins and Patriots. The Dolphins punt returner kicked it to get the lead. Then Antonio Gibson for the Patriots returned a kick return to get the lead. And then the Pats kicker, who missed 2 extra points, absolutely drilled a 53-yard field goal to ice the game. What a game in this one was. My biggest takeaway from this game is that the Dolphins have to clean house. Trade Tyreek Hill. Trade Tua Tagovailoa if you can, and fire Mike McDaniels. This team is not it. You just got to move on, y'all. I'm sorry. But on to the next game, we have the 49ers versus the Saints. 49ers win it 26-21, and Mac Jones is back, y'all. 49ers go to 2-0, sorry. Saints fall to 0-2. Y'all, Mac Jones is back. My Alabama boy, Mac Jones, man, 26 for 39, 279 yards, and 3 touchdowns in this game. Christian McCaffrey, 19 total touches for 107 scrimmage yards and a touchdown. He's just off to that 2023-2024 season, y'all. He looks like he's in that bag again. Last week, like I said, he led the league in total touches, and he had 160 scrimmage yards. This week was no different. He looked really good with no Brock Purdy. The team looked good with no Brock Purdy. And just a good game by the 49ers in this one. To talk about the Saints real quick, y'all, Spencer Rattler has some promise. I know I talk bad about him and him being the worst starter in the league. Spencer Rattler looks pretty competent, y'all. In this game, Spencer Rattler was 25 for 34, 207 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And he's managing these games pretty well. Lost by a touchdown last week on the final possession of the game. Lost this game by only 5 points and had a 3 touchdown game most of his career. He looks pretty competent, y'all. I cannot lie. But my biggest takeaway from this game, y'all, is that the 49ers are still a good team. Even with these injuries, with Kittle out on IR with the hamstring, Brock Purdy battling shoulder and turf toe injury, Juwan Jennings, who played in this game with a shoulder injury, scored. Barring all these injuries, the 49ers are a very well-coached team by Kyle Shanahan, and they're just still a good team in general, y'all. They go to 2-0 to start the season. On to the next game. We have the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets. Bills win this one 30-10. Bills move to 2-0 on the season. The Jets fall to 0-2, y'all. And Justin Fields is under concussion protocol. But before that concussion, man, he was on pace to have one of his worst career passing games, one of his worst games of his career. He was 3 for 11 going into the third quarter with 27 total yards. The Jets had one of the worst games that they've ever had offensively, going minus the garbage time in the fourth quarter. Just a terrible, terrible, terrible game by the Jets offensively, and a really good defensive game by the Bills. The Bills had a very good bounce back game, only gave up 10 points after giving up 40 points to the Baltimore Ravens in week 1. But Bills might be the best team in the AFC, y'all. I mean, they scoring 30 points every week. If their defense plays like this every week, they're just gonna have a great season. They're gonna win probably 13 to 14 games in the AFC East. That is not great. But James Cook in this one, y'all, 21 carries for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. What a game by James Cook. This is the reason that I have him in my top 5 running backs. He scores every single week, y'all. He just scores the ball. He gets yards and he scores the ball, man. He does what the Bills need him to do. Josh Allen did not have a great game in this one, but they didn't need him to because the Bills offense had 224 rush yards as a team. Josh Allen did come out briefly with a very bloody nose. I thought he broke his nose, but Josh Allen's a dog. He'll probably be okay. My biggest takeaway of this game, like I said, y'all, I think the Bills are the best team in the AFC. That is my biggest takeaway. They just look so good. Josh Allen is the best player in the NFL. Offense is in its flow state. Running game is good. Pass game is good. The Bills are just good, y'all. They look so good. They might be my replacement for the Bengals to make the Super Bowl. I think I'm going to go as far as to say that. I got my eye on them and the Ravens. But on to the next game, y'all. We had the Seattle Seahawks versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Seahawks win it 31-17. Both teams are now 1-1 on the season. The Seahawks defense looked absolutely unreal in this game, y'all. They had 2 INTs, a fumble recovery, and a touchdown. And the fumble recovery that led to a touchdown was just an absolute stupid, boneheaded play by the rookie for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Caleb Johnson. I'm going to explain the new rule for y'all for the kickoffs. So the new kickoff rule is once it bounces in the zone, it shows on the TV, it's a green zone where if the ball bounces not in the end zone and if it bounces into the field of play, and into the end zone, the ball is in play. So the rookie Caleb Johnson let the ball roll over his head after it tipped off his fingers and into the end zone. Usually that is blown dead by the rule last year, but by new rule, the ball is still in play. So he let that happen and he literally walked away from the ball, didn't even try to recover it. And the Seattle Seahawks players literally just ran in, jumped on top of the ball, easy touchdown, and that's won the game. That put the Steelers from down 3 to down 10, and they just were never able to recover from it. That stupid boneheaded play by Caleb Johnson. But Sam Darnold on the game didn't have a great game. 22 for 33, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Kenneth Walker, who bounced back in a big way after having like only 20 yards last week. He had 105 yards off 13 carries and a touchdown in this one. Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers offense was just not good today, y'all. Not good. Jalen Warren did have another touchdown in this one. He looks really good. He's a bright spot for this team. But Aaron Rodgers in this one, 18 passes for only 203 yards and a touchdown and 2 picks. One of those picks were absolutely not his fault. Calvin Austin stole a touchdown from Pat Freiermuth that led to a tip pick. But my biggest takeaway from this game, y'all, is that the Seahawks are a pretty good team. If their defense could play like this every single week, they will be a good team because the offense is pretty solid. JSN had another good game. I think he had 8+ catches for another 100-yard game and a touchdown. Kenneth Walker, if the offense can get some running between him and Charbonnet, they have a really good running back duo. If this team could be like this every week, they will be good. They will be really good in the NFC. But before I move on, y'all, the NFC to start the season, or I think in this week, swept the AFC 6-0. So I said it earlier, going into this season, y'all, in my over-under spot, the NFC is really good, y'all. Some really good teams in the NFC, y'all. Look out. But the last game of the 1 o'clock slate that we're going to be talking about, Browns versus Ravens. Ravens win this one 41-17 in a blowout game. Browns are now 0-2 on the year. Ravens move up to 2-0 on the season. Before I even talk about this game, Adam Schefter broke a very strange story talking about Shedeur Sanders and how the Ravens were trying to draft Shedeur Sanders, y'all, in the 5th round before the Cleveland Browns. But Shedeur Sanders asked the Ravens to please not draft him, as he did not want to back up Lamar Jackson because he knew that he had no chance of starting, as Lamar just signed a contract extension for the Ravens. And Lamar Jackson is just a generational player. Shador is just never going to start over him, and the Ravens did not draft him. I just thought that was a pretty weird story to come out with right before this game came on. Just didn't make any sense to me. The Browns are just using Shador Sanders for stories from to me at this point. They're not even giving Shador Sanders practice reps anymore. Bailey Zappi is QB3. Dylan Gabriel's QB2 as Joe Flacco still starts. They have Shador Sanders as emergency QB to come in if the first three guys gets hurt. I just don't understand Shador's use for this Browns team. I don't understand what he's doing. I don't understand why they drafted him if they just were never going to use him. Like, I know it's still early. This is just a way too early overreaction, but I don't like what the Browns are doing with Shador Sanders, man. But let's talk about this game, y'all. Lamar Jackson in this one, 19 for 25, 225 yards and 4 touchdowns in this one, y'all. The Ravens offense had 45 yards of rushing offense. That is the second least since, I think, 2020, or was that stat was. Derrick Henry in this game had 11 carries for only 23 yards, y'all. 11 carries for only 23 yards for Derrick Henry in this one. Ravens only had 242 yards of total offense, got outgained by the Cleveland Browns, and still won by 24 points. Just an all-out dominant game by the Ravens and Lamar Jackson and the possessions that they had. They just basically scored on their possessions. They took advantage of the possessions that they had. They had no run offense. Browns' run defense is really dominant in this game. And before I move on, y'all, DeAndre Hopkins is not washed. D-Hop is still him. He is still that guy. He had 2 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. He's just always going to be a red zone threat until his career is over, man. Shout out to D-Hop. I just want to give him a special shout out. And my biggest takeaway from this game, y'all, is that the Ravens are just a very great team. They are probably the second best team in the AFC behind the Buffalo Bills. And like I said, y'all, that's the team I'm looking out to replace the Bengals for my Super Bowl prediction if Joe Burrow does not come back. But on to the next game, y'all. We have the first game of the 4 o'clock slate. We have the Broncos versus Colts. Colts win this one 29-28 in an absolute thriller of a game. This game was absolutely amazing as well as the Giants and Cowboys game. But Colts are now 2-0 on the season. Broncos move to 1-1. This is the first time the Colts start off 2-0 since the 2009 season, y'all. My goodness, man, this Colts offense looks so good under Daniel Jones. And I'm going to hype up this Colts offense and Daniel Jones for a little bit, y'all. Colts are the first team in the Super Bowl era to not punt the ball in the first 2 weeks. Daniel Jones-led offense has not punted the ball yet. They have not punted the ball yet. They did go for it on downs 2 times instead of punting the ball. They converted one. They didn't get one. But, man, Daniel Jones, it just looks like he's just in a flow state. Daniel Jones in this game, 23 for 34, 316 yards, and a touchdown. And as a Colts player in his first 2 games, Daniel Jones has over 70% completion percentage, 616 total yards, and 5 total touchdowns with 0 turnovers, y'all. As a guy that slanders Daniel Jones, that talked about him going into this season, I took the under for the Colts going into the season because Daniel Jones was named as the starter. Daniel Jones looks amazing. He is managing the game very well for this Colts offense. He's getting the ball out quick. He does not look like a pumpkin in this offense. This O-line is holding up very well. He has time to throw. He's getting the ball to his skill guys. Tyler Warren, the tight end, getting touches. Michael Pittman Jr. getting his touches early. Josh Downs getting the ball early. Alec Pierce, the deep threat, getting the ball downfield and limited touches. This team looks really good, y'all. And I didn't even talk about the spearhead of this offense in this game, Jonathan Taylor, 27 touches for 215 total yards and a touchdown in this game. Jonathan Taylor looked like the best running back in the league today. If he's going to keep playing like this, I mean, just absolutely electric. Had the fastest mile per hour carry according to StatCast today. Just a great game overall by the Colts in this one and to start the season off for them. But Bo Nix in this one for the Broncos, 22 for 30, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. I think the Broncos offense looked pretty good today. J.K. Dobbins scored another touchdown today. He has 2 touchdowns on the season as well. Broncos defense that's supposed to be hyped up, that I thought was going to be the best defense going into this season, did not look good today. I don't know if the Colts offense is just really like that, or they just didn't have a good week defensively. But Pat Surtain did come out briefly with an injury, but he came back in, finished the game. But my biggest takeaway from this game, y'all, is that Shane Steichen is a really good coach for the Indianapolis Colts, and that Daniel Jones just might be that guy, y'all. That is my biggest takeaway from this game. But on to the next game. We have the second 4 o'clock game. We have the Panthers versus the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals win this game 27-22. The Panthers start off the season 0-2. The Cardinals go up to 2-0. And the Cardinals, man, the Cardinals look pretty good, y'all. Even though this game was not a very great game, they played the Panthers. I can't really judge too much. It's the Panthers. But Kyler Murray in this game, 17 for 25, 220 yards. He did have an interception and a touchdown in this game. But this James Conner and Trey Benson duo looked good again. Like last week, James Conner scores again, y'all, as always. He has the 4th most total touchdowns for a running back since 2021, with 46 touchdowns now since 2021 for James Conner. He just always gets into the end zone, y'all. This is literally what he does. Like, James Conner might not be fast, but he's going to get into the end zone, y'all. He's going to get those scrimmage yards. Shout out to James Conner. Another good game by him. But Bryce Young, y'all. Bryce Young, 35 for 55 yards, 328 yards, which is a new career high for Bryce Young. 3 touchdowns and a pick. The numbers look good, but the Panthers were down 27-3, and they started to make a comeback. They scored right before the end of the 4th quarter, so they were down 27-10 going into the 4th, and then they just kept scoring. They went into the final possession down 27-22 after recovering the first onside kick in franchise history since 2019. They had one final drive to actually win this game down 27-22, and Bryce Young just did 2 of the stupidest things he could have possibly done. Took a sack and threw the ball out of bounds for an intentional grounding. The Panthers lose this one down the stretch. But my biggest takeaway from this game is that Bryce Young may not be a good player at all, y'all. I talked about Bryce Young. I talk about all Alabama quarterbacks, how I'm not giving up on them until it's literally over. I think it is nearing the end for Bryce Young as a starter, y'all. He just does not look good. His decision-making and IQ is just not good. Like, as a quarterback, him and Trevor Lawrence have the same level of IQ and decision-making. They just don't do the right thing. They just don't. Throwing out of bounds, intentional grounding, stupid picks, not knowing when to scramble. They just don't do the right things, y'all. But on to the last game of our 4 o'clock slate. We have the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs in our Super Bowl rematch, y'all. Eagles win this one 20-17. Eagles now move up to 2-0 to start the season. And the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, for the first time since 2014, start off 0-2. Wow. Chiefs are 0-2 for the season, y'all. The offense looks absolutely dreadful. Dreadful offense by the Chiefs, y'all. Patrick Mahomes led the Chiefs offense in rushing yards again with 66. He has led the Chiefs in rushing yards in the first 2 weeks of the season. That's how bad this Chiefs offense is. They have no big explosive players downfield. They did connect in the big one to Tyquan Thornton for 49 yards, but Pat Mahomes' deep ball is not as accurate. He missed like 4 guys deep down the stretch or for a deep ball in this game. Travis Kelce with a vital drop in this game in the 4th quarter that led to a pick. But reason why I have not talked about the Philly offense, even though they won this game, Philadelphia offense is so bland. Philly is one of the most boring teams to watch in the NFL, y'all. Like, they win games. Their defense is absolutely dominant dating back to last season. Their defense is still doing their thing. This offense is absolutely gross to watch. Like, Jalen Hurts in this game, 15 for 22, 101 yards, and a rush TD. But to start the season off, first 2 games by Jalen Hurts, 253 yards in his first 2 games. That is 29th in the NFL. He's just not passing the ball. A.J. Brown is not getting touches. Just a very bad offense, man, in terms of passing. Saquon Barkley did have 22 carries for 88 yards, and he did get his first TD of the season. But I am just not excited watching this Eagles offense, man. It's very bland. It's very vanilla. They don't do anything down the field and taking big shots. A lot of checkdowns and a lot of tush push. I'm not a fan of this offense, y'all. But my biggest takeaway from this game is that minus barring everything I just said about the Eagles, my biggest takeaway from this game is that the Eagles are still probably a top three team in the NFC. I have the Rams, Packers, and the Philadelphia Eagles for the best teams in the NFC. They just have to make some changes on offense. They got to get more creative, got to get more explosive, man. But that will conclude our 4 o'clock games. On to this Sunday night game. And the last game I will be summarizing for today, recapping. Sunday night game, we had the Atlanta Falcons versus the Minnesota Vikings. Falcons win this one 22-6 in a pretty boring game for a Sunday night football game. We had 7 total field goals in this game and 1 touchdown as a whole. Vikings and JJ McCarthy, not a good game offensively. And JJ McCarthy, it did come out today that he has a high ankle sprain and will be out for the next 2 to 4 weeks. And Carson Wentz will be the starting quarterback for the next 2 to 4 weeks for the Minnesota Vikings. I think the ankle played a part in why JJ had such a bad game, y'all. 11 for 21, only 158 yards and 2 picks in this game. Just not a good game by JJ McCarthy in this one. But Falcons defense did look pretty good today, y'all. Falcons in this one, Bijan Robinson, 25 touches for 168 total yards. He just looked so explosive. I think he had legitimately 10 juke moves to where he were actually juking players out of their shoes. Like, not literally out of their shoes, but they were falling to the ground. Like, Bijan Robinson looks absolutely electric to start this season off, y'all. Just doing everything that he's doing to look like probably the best running back in the league to start the season. Shout out to Bijan Robinson. Aaron Jones, I want to talk about real quick, did injure his hamstring in this one as well. He is doubtful for week 3. But the Falcons' new kicker, I don't know if y'all watched last week's game. Younghoe Koo missed a game-winning field goal against the Tampa Bay Bucks last week. So this week, they pick up John Romo, new kicker. They healthy scratch Younghoe Koo. He'd even fly to the team to Minnesota in this game. John Romo in this game, 5 for 5 field goals in this game, and was named player of the game with no Younghoe Koo. I expect Younghoe Koo to be waived by tomorrow. That I am being dead serious. I don't think Younghoe Koo has a position on this team as a starting kicker anymore. John Romo looked really good. That locker room speech, they gave him the game ball as he was named player of the game. It's not looking good for Younghoe. But this Sunday night game was an absolute snooze fest. 7 total field goals in this one. Not a great game, y'all. But that will conclude every game, y'all. Talked about every game from Sunday, Thursday, Sunday night game. Like I said, I will not be talking about the Monday night's game as they are currently live. I think that the Texans and Bucks concluded. Let me look at the score real quick. Texans versus Bucks. Yes, Bucks to win it 20-19 in a thriller. I think the Bucks scored on a last-minute touchdown because I think they only had 13-19 on the last time I was watching it. What a game, though. Dang, 2019 on a Monday night game as we have a doubleheader. I think the Chargers and Raiders game has already started. 10 o'clock game. I'm like, I can't believe the NFL did a 10 o'clock game. 10 p.m. Eastern. But what a week of week 2 football, y'all. We had some really close games. We had a couple of blowouts, y'all, but we had some thrillers nonetheless. I guess tonight's Monday night game was a thriller. I wasn't able to recap that one for y'all, but y'all go look at the highlights. But that will conclude this pod, y'all. Thank you for tapping in, like as always, for my weekly listeners. And if you're new to the pod, I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm not usually by myself all the time. I hope y'all enjoyed me yapping most of the time. I usually have my pops with me to do these recaps and takeaways and do the pod with me in general. But he should be back with me for week 3. I think I have an NBA pod coming out for y'all next week with my boy Brett. We are in talks of doing something for NBA. I haven't done an NBA pod in like over a month. But it is football time, so y'all know what it is, man. Y'all know what it is. But before I conclude the pod, y'all, I am starting to get into college football a lot. Like last weekend, I was absolutely on the edge of my seat watching college football, even though I was lost probably some hair and gained some gray hairs betting and losing on college football. It was absolutely electric to watch. I'm not the biggest fan of college, but I think I'm going to tap in some more, y'all. Last week was very promising. I will be watching this Saturday as well. So more to the story, college football content. Look out. Could be coming soon. But as always, y'all have a great rest of y'all work week. Thank you for listening to another episode of More to the Story. Flesh.